Welcome back. Ben Mankiewicz, Eddie Muller on Eddie's set here as we do Neo-Noir every Friday in July. So, and to get Carter, Michael Caine shot in the head. Appears he will not survive his injuries.
No.
Ted Lewis wrote this novel, bookending different, you tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you suspect that Jack Carter won't live at the end of the novel. And I don't know if Ted Lewis had signed up for a series of books, but it was an incredibly short amount of time between the time that book was published and this movie was actually made and released. So like any good writer, he resurrected Jack Carter from that beach.
Turns out he got to a doctor.
Turns out he was okay. Yeah. And there are 2 more books coming down the pipe. But it's very interesting to note that when this film was done, MGM, because it was Michael Caine and it was like the movie was somewhat of a revelation, they said, we don't want him to die at the end. We want to make a sequel. We wanted to bring Jack Carter back. And it was Mike Hodges, in a twist on the way these things usually go, that said, no, he dies.
Right.
No, Jack Carter is a psychopath.
Yeah.
Look at all the horrible stuff he's done in this movie. He has to pay at the end.
But here, because we're given, I don't know what it is, 40 minutes, 45 minutes of Michael Caine being fairly charming, right? Like the kind of criminal you like. You're drawn to him, right? It's easy to root for him until he sees the pornographic movie,
yeah,
right? Where he sees what happened to his niece, and that's what changes him.
So that kind of brings up an interesting point, because there is a suggestion given in the movie, and it's only a suggestion, that it's not his niece but his daughter, because Keith says to him at some point, "You're so rotten, Jack, you'd sleep with your brother's wife."
Yeah, I did not get that was a suggestion. Of course, there's no, why else is that line in there?
There's no other reason to put the line in the movie.
It makes his behavior worse, right? Because it suggests then he's been an absentee father, but then it's almost because he feels so guilty for what he's done that who he wants to be punishing is himself, which makes some sense psychologically. But I mean, again, these murders are awful. It's sadistic. And
it is. It's very sadistic. But this is also something that became true of a lot of films that we now call neo-noir, is people, old-time movie fans always say, so who are we supposed to root for?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because what ends up happening is you end up rooting for the guy who's the coolest.
Of course, right.
Right.
Yeah,
and Jack Carter handles everything with aplomb. He knows how to escape. And he just does stuff in this movie that is so reprehensible.
Yeah.
But it's Michael Caine. And so he kind of gets a pass.
Yes. And you got to know Mike Hodges a little bit, right?
Yes. In fact, my Film Noir Foundation just bestowed upon him this award of Modern Noir Master, recognizing the influence that this film had. We're showing another of his films in this series, Pulp, which is different, another Michael Caine film, but a different tone entirely. He is an influential filmmaker in the past 30, 40 years who doesn't get enough credit. So we decided to give him a little more. And I would be remiss if I did not mention England's greatest living playwright, John Osborne, who plays the role of Cyril Kinnear, the villain behind it all in this movie.
The mastermind, yeah.
Yeah, who gives a terrific performance, but it was quite unusual for a playwright of his stature. I mean, back in 1956, he changed British theater by writing Look Back in Anger. And later on, we're going to show another British crime movie where Michael Caine essentially plays the role that John Osborne plays in this movie.
That's right.
So we have that to look forward to later on.
Well, you're no longer remiss.
I am not remiss. And I will not be remiss in telling you that stay tuned, because we have another terrific crime film coming up next, a neo-noir, in fact, that has a lot of similarities with Get Carter. And that is The Friends of Eddie Coyle, starring Hollywood icon Robert Mitchum. Stick around.